Christina Sisti is committed to cancer advocacy, policy, and research. She has a doctorate from Albany Medical College specializing in health policy and biomedical ethics. Her role as a breast cancer patient and caregiver to her husband, who passed away due to metastatic head and neck cancer, allows her to comprehend the needs of patients and caregivers. First of all, congratulations for having your story published in Authority magazine recently. What was your profession before the story we're about to hear?
I still worked in public health, biomedical ethics, but I focused mostly on, well, to be fair, it was also working with communities, underserved populations, trying to connect them with information and giving them research and education about the latest of whatever health issues that they had.
So the whole health scene was familiar to you, but not in such a personal way as when you and your husband were both dealt two devastating blows of cancer diagnoses. Your cancer was successfully treated, but your husband's returned after thinking he was in remission. How would you describe what this did to your life?
So a lot of people say that it's like you're on this wheel of life and then it just stops and you don't know how to fix it. You don't know how to get it started again. But what I did was, I guess you call it jimmying, because I went and I figured out, well, I can't get this started the way that it was. So how do I try to figure out to find a new way to help us deal with the diagnosis of incurable? So that's how I started looking at research. I took classes at Johns Hopkins about cancer biology, looked at the head and neck cancer classes, spent a lifetime, it seems, on clinicaltrials.gov. But in it, I found that I still go for our cancer care, they work with you as a partner. And that is a huge thing, is if you can be a partner in your care.
Yes. You know, I meant to share this with you before we started the recording, but my husband was also given a terminal diagnosis because of colon cancer that had metastasized. And man, it just, in one instant, your whole life is changed, isn't it?
It is, you don't know, it's the breath is knocked out of you, everything just drops. It's, for me, it was that moment of, okay, but no, that can't be true.
Yeah.
And then it was a moment after that going, well, now I'm going to try to figure out how to not make it true.
Yes. As I read your article, which is titled Strategies for Rebuilding Life After Trauma, I thought this lady was on a mission. You left no stone unturned looking for help for your husband's condition. Even though you tried so hard to find a cure for him, he eventually died. What were some of the feelings you went through after putting so much energy into looking for help and nothing helped?
Um, it took, I don't know, it took maybe a month for me just to even come out of that fog, which I'm sure you're aware of how that feels.
Yes.
Um, and I did take time and I sat back and I was like, why didn't I find something? And I started to blame myself. Like, what if I had done this, or what if I had done that?
Yeah.
And then I realized, but what else is there to do when it's a terminal diagnosis? I exhausted all the possibilities, and I have to start to forgive myself and to realize that I did it. I did more than what most expected.
Yes.
I, so it was, it was one of those times where I'm like, okay, well, I did it, but now I can do more. And I have.
You did everything you could, but it still wasn't enough. And the natural human reaction is to say, could I have done more? I couldn't help but notice your phrase after he passed that you were learning how to navigate the days without him. The death of a partner requires the building of a whole new life, doesn't it?
It does. And it's, I think those of us who have lost a partner understand that it's the little things. It's the turning to look at him over something just so like if my dog does something silly, sometimes we would just catch each other's eye, or that moment of like, oh, right, you're not here. And the shared intimacy and looks and inside jokes. And I know people think that, oh yeah, well, when you go to bed or, doing things, I'm like, I mean, obviously I miss him at that, but it's the smaller things.
Yes. I find that what I miss are those shared moments that aren't there anymore. Oh, and you mentioned just that language between you where you can just glance at each other and you share a joke, or are able to appreciate something that has happened. You were asked to name 5 important choices you made that helped you move forward. One of them was to find a support system. And you also mentioned that some people ghost you when you're going through tough times. I remember thinking it's as though they think that cancer is contagious. I love that you recognized and will tell us, how did you respond? What did you do to take care of yourself when some of your friends or family disappeared during this time?
I'm going to be straight out honest. At first, I was angry with them.
Of course.
I mean, it's like, how could you, in the time that I need you the most, you're gone.
Yeah.
And then this is a story I tell everybody because it's amazing sometimes how you don't realize how you've touched people's lives until something like this happens. 2 weeks after my husband passed, one of his friends and former clients reached out via messenger and said, if you're not doing anything for Thanksgiving, we have a friendsgiving. Come on over anytime. You don't have to stay for a certain amount. You don't have to bring anything. Just come over.
Yeah.
And, we knew each other enough in that hi-bye relationship. I knew his wife in that hi-bye, but most part it was, Ron would talk to him, and you know what it's like sometimes when you're standing there going, okay. Around 4 o'clock Thanksgiving afternoon, I sat there and I thought, you know what? It's a simple walk over to their house. And I can sort of prep myself on the way over. And when I'm ready to leave, I can just leave.
Yes.
But if I don't go, will I ever get another invitation?
Yeah.
I did go. And there were so many people there who were just so happy to see me. But then he said, oh, do you still walk with your dogs? At that point, I had 3 huskies. And I was like, yes, I still walk with my dogs. He goes, well, my wife was wondering if she could walk with you.
Oh,
3
wow.
years later,
Gives me goosebumps.
I lucked out because 3 years later, we still walk together in the mornings when, we can.
Yeah.
I'm visitor for all of their holiday get-togethers. Anything in between, they're like, oh, hey, do you want to come with us? But that's that moment where you sit there and go, maybe I did lose people. And yes, I did. And then at first, yes, I was angry, but then I stopped and I looked at friendships like this,
Yes.
unexpected friendships. And I
Yes.
realized, you know what? I can spend all this time being angry or going, well, how come you didn't? Or I could look at those who are still here or who showed up and say, yes, but I have people.
Yes.
And these are the people that I love and that I cherish.
And that you trust.
Exactly. You know, going back to the same friend who decided, well, she's going to help me walk those huskies. The first anniversary of Ron's death, she took the day off of work to be with me.
Oh gosh. What
And
what a gift.
it, to this day, I'm like, I don't know how to even, I've tried to explain to her, like, there's no words.
Yeah.
There's no, I mean, I'm even tearing up thinking about it. I'm like, someone who could do that, someone who did do that without asking, without, she just did it. You know, I have a very, very close friend who was with me through his first diagnosis, my treatment, my continued treatments, and his passing, of course. I called her 4 a.m. because he passed at 2 a.m. She was on my doorstep, 7 a.m.
Yes.
And it's those people, you know, I can't stress it enough. Those are the people that you may be numb, you may be going through things, but they're there and they're carrying you, even if you don't realize it at the time.
And they aren't the ones that just say, if there's anything I can do to help, let me know. It's that they just step up and do it. They're there.
Exactly. And that's, I know a lot of people, they ghost or they're like, oh, well, if there's anything you can do because they don't know what to say or they don't know what to do. And that's part of what I do is explain to people, I understand you don't know what to say. I mean, there are so many people that have said awkward things to me where I'm
Yes.
like, but give them some grace because what do you say sometimes? It's so uncomfortable. And those who are saying, oh, if there's anything that I can do, let me know. And a lot of times I notice that those are also the ones who'll do it on social media, but they don't actually show up. But
Yes.
I give them grace because I'm like, you know what? This is not for me to judge. This is what they do to help themselves feel better, and that's okay.
Okay.
And then there are those who, like my friends, they just do it. And they don't do it because they want show. They don't do it because they want everybody to, oh, look what you did for her.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the stuff that I don't know. I give grace to those who do all the other things. So I'm like, you know, there's a process for them. There's a learning curve. There's
Mhm.
a I'm not comfortable with death. I'm not comfortable with illness.
Yes.
So it's okay.
I love what you're saying about giving them grace because of where they are in their lives. Death and illness are such uncomfortable places to be for many people. I love that you quote unquote drafted a treatment plan for yourself. Tell us about that.
So that's old school me. I used to work with children and families. Um, so we would always do treatment plans. And I've done a lot of work since then, especially researching and writing different articles involving mental health, addiction, and everything has treatment plans.
Yeah.
I think that they're the most grounding things, especially when your life has just been pulled out from underneath you. Just to take 10 minutes even and say, okay, well, what do I want to accomplish today?
Yes.
Start small. It's okay. And then when you're feeling a little more strength, then say, oh, what do I want to accomplish in 2 days or a week or a month? And
Uh,
then you can build it out. You can do short term, you can do long term. But the biggest thing is review it.
it's reassuring or comforting to have a plan, even if it's to watch a certain TV show or cook a certain dish for yourself. I'm so amazed and uh, impressed with what you're doing with your life now as a result of all of this. Tell us about what your mission is, your purpose in life now.
It's a two prong. My goals are to increase the awareness and the need for research specifically in head and neck cancers because it's they're rare, but they're increasing in diagnosis. And also they don't receive the same attention or monies. So part of what I'm doing is I was actually just nominated to the NCI's Head and Neck Cancer Steering Committee. So
Okay.
fingers crossed that I get on it, but
Yeah.
that's another step towards what can I do to help even implement or build a concept for research. And then my other is to have the Voice for Patient Advocates expanded to inside of medical facilities, universities. What I do is I like to go in and talk to doctors, researchers, fellows, interns about this is what a patient advocate is. And this is how you can start to work with them, to utilize their knowledge, to come to an understanding of why they are integral to whatever it is you're doing. And I build curriculum. And I'm hoping that at some point we can have this as a standard of care.
So you're talking about creating a more cooperative relationship between the medical community and the patient and their family so that they're feeling included or part of the partnership?
That and also to have, I prefer to call them patient partners on staff
I see.
or, as professors or like clinical ethicists have a position in hospitals and research facilities. And they advocate for like the clinical, the well-being of patients based upon their morals, values, and expectations of care. Patient partners, I feel that they should have the same status because they're coming in with a lived knowledge. And to be able to sit there at the table and say, that could be beneficial, and we do understand this. However, maybe we should look at the toxicity, or maybe we should look at the burden that's being put on the patient. Or if we consider the fact that there are underserved populations, they can't make it in once a week. So how can we bring care to them?
Gosh, I so admire what you're doing, and I'm so very proud of you because although you were involved in this field before, it's like your current life purpose was crafted out of what we would call a tragedy.
I think that tragedy and trauma can build some of the strongest people because we understand, cliche it is, we understand darkness.
Yes, I so agree with you. I think so much of what I do is the result of some very, very painful, dark times in my life that motivated me to learn lessons that now I can share with others. I wonder if you'd share about the role of your two huskies in your life. Look at her smile.
They would like to think that it is their lives and I am only working into it.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Right.
I am, oh my gosh. So I've always loved my dogs. And they've always been, that special part, or no matter how bad a day is, there's that bond, whether for me it's my huskies, for others it's their cat or whatever. But when Ron passed, I realized that we were all mourning.
Yes.
One would constantly go and look for him to come home from work at a certain time, or they would wander around the house, and you know how huskies talk. So two of them at different times would kind of look up at me or look around, and they start to do their little woo-woos.
Yeah.
And I realized, you know what? We're in this together. So seeing their love and their loss made me also realize, hey, you know what? If we come together, we can do this.
Yeah.
And they're such goofballs. I mean, you know, and they had those moments where I'm like, I'd really like to be angry with you for coming in with all that dirt and dropping onto the couch. But
Uh-huh.
look at that little face. I'm like, you're just, like
Yeah.
they know I'm a sucker for them. And they know that, and
Our,
they know that even when I'm like, come here, and I'm like, oh, what a good girl. Just, I don't
yeah.
know, they just, even now I can't stop. I'm like, they're just so, dogs have such big hearts
Mm.
and such loyalty and trust and openness. How could you not love your pet?
Our pets bring us so much more than they demand from us, don't they?
They do. Um, Although my huskies, they do demand a certain amount.
Yes.
Treats, treats, cuddles, belly rubs, and
Yes.
free rein in the backyard.
Yes. Well, I'm so glad that they have you and that you have them. So, our viewers, Christina has generously volunteered that you can contact her with any questions you may have. Her email is csisti, that's CSISTI, at overcomeandthrive.org. Or you can go to her website to learn more about her work and uh, perhaps benefit from all the knowledge that she has accumulated. Christina, thank you so much for joining me this morning and adding this addition to your written article. I hope the viewers will go to Authority Magazine and read your full article. It was full of amazing tips.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. It was delightful to get to talk to you in person as well as read the uh, valuable things that you had to share about your journey. I hope your yard dries out so your huskies won't bring in a lot of mud.
Like, here's hoping no more rainstorms in Florida.
No more rain for now.
Right.
Thank you so much, Christina. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.